Okay, I got cut off. I went an hour long. I didn't know I was rambling that long. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. And I'll post 2 videos. Basically, what I was talking about is government-controlled infrastructure, which is what exists now. It's impossible to consolidate the infrastructure because, like I said, there's so many different kinds. And the corporations like Comcast and AT&T that have control of, Comcast controls the cable, AT&T controls the satellite and the fiber technology. So, and the copper lines, the old phone lines, they took control of the old telephone companies. So, basically, what we're left with is, limited choices as far as what they want us to have, and that's part of the globalist plan. And roads too. There's a reason why, roads are the way they are. There's arterials, there's local, there's county, but the federal, they want people taking mass transit for the most part. In Chicago in particular, I've often wondered why is there no more. There's only there's not really many bypass. There really isn't any. Really, you got one spur that comes off the Kennedy, for Ohio, to get to the River North area. And then you got Lakeshore Drive, and you got the Dan Ryan, which is, super highway that's divided the south side into 2, basically. And then there's the Stevenson, and there's just one bypass. Where there should be 2. There should be, the 294 should be an outer bypass, and, there should be an inner bypass. And they've talked about building what they call a cross-town skyway, which would actually be basically a second bypass, an inner bypass around the loop. And, and give more, and then, they could build, spurs off of that, And I've often wondered why they never did that. And it's all about, because if you look at a lot of these neighborhoods, there's so many abandoned buildings. It's not like they can't tear down some of these abandoned buildings and build, more highways and whatnot. But they want people to not be able to drive cars. They want people to take the L. And I could never figure that out. I hated standing on the platform. These old platforms, in the wintertime, it's cold as fuck. And they it's like, it'd be much better if they just build more roads. But, whatever. That's why I'm talking about infrastructure, is crap, basically. Because, the government-controlled infrastructure doesn't do a thriving society any good. All it does is, when they do construction on roads, reconstruct roads, old roads basically, just resurface them or reconstruct them, all that does is anger people during the time they're constructing them. And then when they get done, it's like, oh, this is nice, until they got to reconstruct it again or resurface again. It's all crap, But anyways, I'm going to stop this video now because I've gone really long. I didn't realize how long I was going. I had a lot to say. I still have more to say, and I'm not stopping anytime. As long as there's someone like Alex Jones who I don't dislike him. I think, I listen to him because I think he's got a lot of good things to say, but I think he looks at things from, kind of an idealistic point of view a bit. And, he understands politics, but he doesn't understand governance, I don't think. But he also doesn't understand what it's like, for the average person who's maybe not into, because he's a populist. And I'm not really much of I'm not into populism. I'm more libertarian and more conservative. And I mean, he's not liberal. He actually calls himself a liberal, but he is definitely more of a populist. He's not a socialist, that I know. But he's more into, like, he's into, he doesn't want people. He wants people to be fully engaged in the political process, and it's like, that's unrealistic. That's just, I just don't see. I think I'm more politically aware than most people are, but I don't like. This election is turning me off in a lot of ways. Trump is. I'm not a Trump guy. I'm sorry. The guy rubs me the wrong way. He just does. And especially now that he's bitching about, Colorado, there are rules. Just like what happened in 2000, there are rules. I'm sorry, it may not look right, but there are rules that you have to follow. And I don't necessarily agree with the rules, but I don't live in Colorado. And it's the same thing that happened in 2000 in Florida. Look, Gore kept trying to get the recount over and over and over. And the state says only one recount's allowed when it's a questionable outcome. That's it. Just the one recount. So, I don't know exactly all that happened in Colorado, but there are rules. And so, I know. That's why, Trump, I don't see him fixing anything. All the problems we have, I don't see him fixing a damn thing. The type of candidate I would vote for is Gary Johnson. I voted for Gary Johnson in 2012 because I'm like, okay, he's for a balanced budget. He balanced the budget in New Mexico. Okay, we need to do that in the federal government. Okay, he's socially tolerant. I'm not, like I said, I'm pro-life. I don't support gay marriage. I'm conservative when it comes to these things. I'm sorry. The government has had too much say in what goes on in our lives. And for people to think that gay marriage is actually empowering people who are gay, it's not. Not if you have the government involved. Sorry, I just don't. Like I said, I work for the government. You don't want the government involved in your life in any way, shape, or form. You really don't. You just want them to, even with the infrastructure, I'm sorry. I'd rather the billionaires, people like Trump, taking care of the infrastructure, essentially. Hire them. Let them, build roads and build bridges and build, telecommunications systems. Let them do it all. Why can't they figure it out? Why can't we get private industry to figure out how to build the infrastructure. You know, I mean, especially now that you have ride sharing going on, you can get Lyft and Uber involved in building roads. I'm telling you, you know, it's not hard to figure this out. You know, it's what's hard is when you have government who's, you know, making it harder for a Lyft driver to do their job in the city. You know, they keep raising taxes on customers, so because the cab companies, you know, the cab companies they should be involved in building infrastructure as well. You know, I mean, why do we have to have the government controlling it all? You know, that's all I'm saying. Anyways, I got nothing more to say.